can review this going into this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select the camera, and I'm going to build a simple follow mechanic. And we'll look at other ways to do this. I'm going to right-click and add FSM. And I'm going to do two actions, and they're located in the translate. They're called get position and set position. So I can see the get position, I got lucky, and I'll just do get position. I'm going to search for set position just so that I can find it quicker. Yeah, get position for the first one. And let's see, and I want set position. You can see I'm running out of screen real estate here. And in this case, it doesn't really matter which one comes first, but we do want to take into account there's an order of operation here with our, so really, I mean, the logic here is that we want get position to happen first, even though it's going to happen so quick that it doesn't matter in this case. We're going to get the position, not of the owner. We don't care what the position of the camera is. So we're going to change the game object from owner to specific object. Okay? And then we get this field where we have to load in a game object, and we're going to drag our player, it's one click and drag, into that field. So we're getting the position of the player. And the only position that I'm really concerned about is the X position. I don't really care about anything else, because I don't want it to move up and down with the player necessarily, but I do want it to move left and right. So I'm going to create a new variable on the X position, and I'm going to call this player X. Just a little public service announcement about you don't want to use capital letters for variables, and you don't, not at the beginning anyway. You can see I have a capital X in here. You always want to start your variables with lowercase, and you don't want to include any spaces in the name. If you need a visual space, you can use underscore. That'd be fine if you want to break it up. This upper lowercase is kind of the most common method, where you'll see a lowercase, and then if you start a new word or a new property, you start that with an uppercase, just kind of mashed together, and that'll give you a visual cue too. But basically, we're getting the player's X position, and then we go down to set position. In this case, we want to set the owner, the camera's position of X, to the player's X position. We'll do that every frame. It looks like we have to set get position to every frame as well. So as long as we have get every frame for both of those, we will want to do a late update down here at the bottom. If we don't, you'll see that things might be a little jerky. I'm going to leave mine unchecked just to see what kind of results I get. But if it's a little jumpy, I'll go back and it'll smooth it out. So, so right now, just with a few simple clicks, I do have the camera following the player. Okay, which gives me a lot more control over, you know, the environment that I'm designing for. Okay, I didn't notice any major glitches here, but I am going to check late update, and that's a good practice when we get into the physics engine. We'll talk about, you know, some of the technical bits later when we're optimizing things. That was interesting. My player flew straight at my camera. Can anyone give me a suggestion about how I might constrain the player from moving back and forth in Z space? Yes?
Maybe like turn off their ability to move in the Z axis.
And how would I do that? Where would I find that? I like where you're going with it, so I'm going to go to the player.
Maybe create a global variable that turns off their ability.
You could definitely do that. You could definitely clamp its position and have it, you know, but there's actually a way built into the rigid body component. If you go into the rigid body component of the player, there's a constraint down at the bottom, and if you open that up, it'll allow you to freeze constraints according to rotation and position. And we want to move in every position except for Z. So I'm going to check the freeze position along Z for our player. Once we do that, it's going to stay in the same Z position no matter what we run into. So I can intentionally kind of, oop, I think I did rotation because I can't rotate anymore. Yep, I did that wrong. Freeze position. So I froze my rotation, which meant that I couldn't use that torque ability. So now I'll kind of always be in the same Z space, which will be useful. Okay, but what I might do now that I have some freedom of movement along the X is I might give myself a little goal with just a cube to land on. Okay, and maybe I decide that my camera is way too close to my player. I want like a further out view, so I might go to my camera and kind of, you know, recompose this to make my gameplay a little bit more, you know, give myself a, you know, a different play area. So the goal for homework is next week bring in something where you push the basics forward and give yourself a little goal, a little challenge with some basic obstacles where you can get to. You can see I just failed miserably. I tried to land on the platform that I had over here and I just completely missed it. But let's just develop this out from a mechanic standpoint, get things dialed in so that we familiarize ourselves with this. I will make these videos available in Blackboard.